Anywho, moving on, I did eventually get to Train Dreams, which I would describe as an excellent piece of art house filmmaking, but it is very, very, very depressing. Essentially, with this film, um, you are watching a man spend a lifetime overcoming grief, and it's very well done. I would give this movie 4 stars. It is a 4 out of 5 for me. But you also have to be in the right. You have to either be very much into art house film, or you have to be in the right mood to watch this film because it's not entertaining in the way that I've finished a long day at work and I want to forget about life for a little while. It's very much it feels like a poem of a film. It's very contemplative about life, about the country itself. One of the things that I really do enjoy about the film is that it's sort of this profile of living in early 20th century America and how difficult and dangerous it really, really was. And really all of the stuff that we bitch about today as modern people, it really pales in comparison to, it's early 1900s. We're going into World War One. You got to you can't just you have to you're build you have to build your own house, hunt your own food. You're doing everything for yourself. And on top of that, you go to work. You could easily, he's the Joel Edgerton's character Robert is a logger, and you could easily get very, very easily get killed on the job at the time doing that job. I mean, it's dangerous now, was especially dangerous back then, and for it, so it was very difficult for men, and then women had to be tough as nails as well, because if you're going to live on the essentially out on the frontier in those days, there's a lot of stuff that could take you out. Um, so it was a very, very hard life, and I'd recommend the film for if you get to that era in history class. It does a lot of stuff well, and it sort of gives you, I think, the vibe, and it throws in. And it's not the entirety of the film, that depending on your demographic, like particular in this one, because it's building railroads, logging, it very much has an underpinning. If you were Chinese at the time, things were really, really not great for you. So it covers all of those historical bases in a really interesting way. And again, I'd recommend it for history class. Beautiful cinematography. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking movie. Again, I think it plays a little bit less like a driving narrative and more like a poem, and they know enough to cut it as such. The pacing is very deliberate, and it's not an overly long film. It's under 2 hours, which for what it is, I think it's really good. I don't think you could. I think 2 hours or over would be way more than this brand of film would need. I think it's roughly, as I recall, around an hour and 45, and that's, I think, a basically the right length of time for this film. And the other big thing to mention is it's a very performance driven film, and Joel Edgerton crushes it. He may not be the biggest name actor working out there, but everything I've seen him in, he really is fantastic in, and he really gives Robert this sort of deep soul in the film, and he grounds it, he anchors it, and his performance. And again, it's not a very plot driven movie. It's very contemplative, and it works, and it keeps you sucked in because of his performance. So it's worth watching it for Edgerton, and you also get good supporting performances from William H Macy, Felicity Jones, and Carrie Condon, who she had a good 2025, obviously, having starred in two Best Picture nominees, this one and F1. So She had a good year. Um, so I would say this movie definitely gets a recommend from me. Specifically, if you love art house film, I think you're gonna love it. Around that, you do have to be in the right mood. You have to sort of specifically, I am watching this film for the art of it. And yeah, it's gonna suck you into another world and whatnot, but it's not in the popcorn entertainment way that you might be looking for at the end of a long day of work. This might be more of a weekend movie where you're sitting down with a couple of people who appreciate this kind of film. Um, sitting down with them and watching the film, for the art and for the art of it more so than to see aliens shoot lasers at each other or something like that. Do I think it's a best picture winner? I do not. I don't think I would not give it best picture, but it certainly I would say deserves, if we're gonna do, because here's my theory on best picture as a category. Best picture as a category was better when it was only 5 films. And of course, historically they kicked it up to 10 after the backlash for not nominating Dark Knight for Best Picture back in '08. So they doubled the nominee pool, which sort of ended up, I think, muddying the nominee pool a little bit. It's just rather than making room for more popular fare that folks watch more. They just started throwing nominations to every all of the like art stuff or issues movies that Hollywood likes. So it didn't actually, expanding it out to 10 didn't actually accomplish the thing that I think it was meant to accomplish, was which is to accommodate more pop culture fare. That being said, if you're going to kick it out to 10. I also do think it does help some of these smaller films, more art house films, even if they don't win, get a little bit more of a profile, and maybe some of that audience some of that audience that is looking for the popcorn films will hear about them and give these movies a try. That being said, you actually have to give some popcorn movies a chance, which the Oscars never fucking do. So there is also that. It's you got to have some kind of a balance, which there clearly is not. But end of the day, I think Train Dreams, good film, 4 stars, worth the watch when you're in the right mood for it.